doesn't want growth? Your donors, your investors, your colleagues, they all want you to get bigger.
We've grown faster than any other storage systems company in a similar time frame.
The real growth would come from a couple of different segments being travel and...
It's a very stable, growing, cash-flowing machine.
We're pretty much forecasting double-digit growth.
Growth is good no matter what. Except that sometimes growth gets off on the wrong track, or has a vulnerable foundation, or ignores limits. That's when you have to stop, regroup, and maybe shrink for a while. And that's never easy.
This was a courageous thing to do, but it was bound to meet with a considerable amount of internal resistance, which it did. I think over time, most of the groups on campus came to understand what we were trying to do. I don't think to this day everybody agrees with it.
That's John Neuhauser, a former business school dean at Boston College and current president of St. Michael's College in northern Vermont. Its leaders have decided to let St. Michael's shrink, 10% fewer students and 10% fewer teachers.
Among those things they said was, the population of 18-year-olds in the Northeast is going to shrink by 10 to 15% in the next 10 years. And you should be prepared for that. So there are various things you can do, but one of them, I think, more intelligent things is to think you're not smarter than everybody else and to figure out a way to hold on to the community, but to become somewhat smaller until the population comes back.
There have been no firings or expulsions, just attrition. People who are retiring just aren't getting replaced.
Part of the strategic planning process, which the task force was the lead up to, is really all about, how do we become nimble but stay St. Michael's College, and it's a difficult problem. I mean, it's a problem that will have a solution, but figuring out that solution, based off of the things that we learned in the task force, is a hard problem. It's got many moving pieces and many people who have vested interests in different directions, and getting that all to work cohesively and still remain the institution that we are is going to be hard, but I think we can pull it off.
Ideally, the shrinking here won't be permanent. But for now, it's a way of getting ready for tighter loan markets, more online courses, and pressure for lower tuition.
Has that impacted admissions and enrollment in any of the work that you do?
No. And right now it hasn't. In fact, we had a paradoxical effect in that we ended up getting one of the largest classes in the past 10 years.
Peter Drucker wrote that more than ever, leaders will have to determine the size of their organization by looking at technology, strategy, and marketing.
They're preparing at least for the long term where the demographics are at least, where they at least can foresee the changes that are coming.
I think it's very wise, and I think it's what separates institutions that are going to last longer from institutions that are just going to die because they can't adapt to the times. I think St. Michael is going to stay a very good institution for the next decade or so because they have their plans worked out.
If, for example, students from other countries, they know that the school have this kind of plan, they are going to apply for this school. And it's beneficial for everybody, for students and also for the college.
Here in Vermont, ego stepped aside and it looks like the right answer won. It happens.